This video is sponsored by Skillshare, a fantastic learning site that allows you to find multiple different kinds of topics as well as different courses on various things you might find interesting, everything from a hobby, the pursuit of a new passion or career, or just things you might be interested in. I myself had a fantastic time with, I'm just gonna call him Ed, with his course on orbital motion and gravity because I thought it would be a really good course to take considering that we're talking about the outer wilds right now, and gravity, elliptical orbits, physics, all that stuff. Oh, don't worry, it comes into play. But this is just a drop in the bucket on all the different kinds of classes that you can take on Skillshare. And if you want to be one of the lucky 1,000 people to jump on through the link in the description, you can get 2 weeks of free trial time so you can get learning ASAP. Thank you very much, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video, and let's put that gravity course to work.
SpongeBob, quick, reel it in! Can't you hear the music? That's a 4/4 string ostinato in D minor! Every sailor knows it means death! Reel it in before it's too late! Hurry, SpongeBob, the music's getting faster! There you go, you stinking Wilfred! Stop playing that music! Stop it, please! I'm begging
Hello everybody, my name is Bricky, currently serving 10 to life for lying to my friend about going into the dark bramble, and this behind me, this is the Outer Wilds. This is not the Outer Worlds. Those are two different games, both sci-fi games, mind you, but I assume that when you clicked on this video, you had the assumption that we will be talking about the Outer Worlds made by Obsidian Entertainment. We are not. We are discussing the Outer Wilds, which I would not only argue is a better game than the Outer Worlds, different but better, but also one of the best sci-fi games ever made. This title is not a piece of sensational clickbait. I truly believe that it is one of the best sci-fi games ever made, and it is up there in my top 10 games. Yes, I put the Outer Wilds up there with Mass Effect, BioShock, the first Last of Us game, Nier Automata, Halo 3, Bloodborne. Yes, I actually legitimately believe that this title, this little indie game released in 2019, is up there in those ranks. For different reasons, of course, the game obviously plays very different, but up there nonetheless. Outer Wilds is an experience that I have not gotten in a video game in years. And I don't mean experience like that hippy-dippy indie game bullshit where it's a walking simulator that's just, it's so deep, it's so methodical, it's always about depression because they're always about depression. No. It's not like that. It's not some like weird artistic piece. No, this is a very consumable, very easy to get into game about mystery, exploration, and learning about story and also environment. It is a game that I think almost anybody could enjoy, and at the same time is one of the best sci-fi games out there. It is the textbook definition of I wish I could wipe my memory and replay it again. High praise. Yes, I know. Currently, this game is free on the Xbox Game Pass or $25 on Steam and probably a similar price in the Epic Game Store. Why do I tell you this now and not at the end of the video? Because if you trust me and you trust my reviewing capability or whatever, this game is the best when you know nothing about it. It is an absolute experience when your mind is completely clear of any kind of spoilers or knowledge of the game. And if you trust me, I recommend that you turn this video off, you go play the dang thing, and you experience it for yourself and you come back and watch the rest of the video. Because that is absolutely the best way to experience this fantastic title. However, some of you probably don't know me, as in you're new viewers, or you're just not that quick to throw out $25. And I understand. I get it. Everyone has their own price and everyone has to really think about what they want to spend their games on. So with that being said, I will still be reviewing it, and I will do my very best to tell you why it's such a fantastic game and hopefully prove to you that it is worth your time and money. The game starts with a simple prompt: wake up. And then right there comes the first part of genius of this game. Because when you open your eyes, you don't open your eyes like a normal person. No. It is opening in two separate areas. Because as you'll soon find out by the fun little chap next to you, you're an alien. In fact, you're an alien race with 4 eyes. And when those eyes open, you see in front of you a large tower. You can hear in the background there's a fire going, like a little campfire. And then you can see the stars in the background. There's a planet up there and a little spark going on next to that planet. As you wake up, you turn your attention over. First thing you do, you roast that marshmallow. You gotta roast that marshmallow. Game of the year. Through speaking with your buddy next to you, you are an astronaut, and it is custom for your race to sleep under the stars before your first major mission. And it's time for you to get into your rocket and explore the solar system around you. In order to do so, well, you need the launch codes, of course. This part of the game is a tutorial, and it is a fantastic one. As you maneuver your way through the city in kind of a predetermined path, and as you talk to different kinds of individuals and the residents of this little village, you are taught everything you need to know about the game completely seamlessly. You can fly a little model ship to learn the controls of the game. You can take a little scanner tool and take pictures through the little drone you can fire to learn how to use it later. You can use the signal scope to detect sound from different locations and also play a little hide and seek game where you can also try to find the kids using that said signal scope. You learn what ghost matter is and how dangerous it is to you and the signs to avoid it. You learn about zero-G and how to maneuver your way through it and repair objects which you might need in case you fuck up your ship. You can go to the museum, which has almost everything you need to know about the game right there in the museum. This is all backed up by some fantastic dialogue. In fact, it's actually extremely well written dialogue. It brings me back to my New Vegas days, which, I mean, if you know New Vegas dialogue, this is some pretty high praise, but it's pretty good dialogue. It's really well written. But this tutorial is a masterclass in a tutorial in a video game. Some things are obvious, right? Maneuvering in zero-G, the ghost matter, sure, but then the smaller stuff, like the strange moving rock in the museum and the life cycle of a star, it'll all come back. After you speak with the main man who gives you your launch codes, there's a map right next to him, and then right there you can learn all about where the different kinds of planets are and what you will be exploring in the solar system. You first off have Timber Hearth, your main home planet, a very Earth terrestrial planet, nothing too crazy. The Addle Rock, your very small moon. You also have Giant's Deep, a very large planet nearby. Brittle Hollow, as well as the volcanic moon Hollow's Lantern. The Hourglass Twins, Ash and Ember. The Sun, of course. The Interloper, a very fast-moving, I guess it would be called a comet or something similar. I'm not quite sure the space term. This strange thing here, unnamed. And the Dark Bramble. These are your destinations in the solar system, all of them containing secrets and knowledge that will help you learn more from each and every other planet. So, get your launch codes, head your way out of there, and then... How strange, but you know, no matter. Keep going, go to your ship, ascend the elevator, and it's time for your first adventure into the Outer Wilds. Normally we would talk about things like sound, music, gameplay, visuals, all kinds of stuff, but no, that's not a good way to review this game. No, these are the stories from the Outer Wilds. So let me tell you the story of my first trip out there into the solar system. I enter my ship, put on my suit, and I check my ship log. I remember them telling me you should go check out the Addle Rock at some point. I mean, it's the moon. It's pretty dang close. I think it wouldn't be too bad of a destination. Also a lot less dangerous, all things considered. So I go to the moon, and then I see this interesting little alien ruin on it with a ball that moves as I move my mouse. So then I push it to these different kinds of iconography, which are actually, apparently, the various planets of the solar system. A whole bunch of little circles line up into those different kinds of planets, and not only does it show me which are which, but I can also hear them. But then there's a fourth symbol, something I don't quite understand. I look like the sun at first, but as I move the ball over there, everything just goes haywire. Nothing seems to be focusing, and it just keeps on doing this forever, really. Strange, but okay. Curious, I explore more of the moon on foot, and I find an interesting little log from one of the travelers, and he says he can hear the sound of a harmonica. Now, each traveler has an instrument, but the harmonica belonged to Feldspar, and Feldspar went missing years ago. He's known to be one of the casualties of, space travel. But the harmonica is coming in loud and clear, and not only that, but we can hear it on Timber Hearth, my home planet. Creepy, but curious. So instead, I jump back in my ship and I head right back down to Timber Hearth. Once I find the source, I see this horrifying thing. It looks like a spiked, needly root, and like a seed that's growing on the planet. And if I look at it with my signal scope, boom, there's the harmonica, loud and clear. So, first thing I do is I take my little scanner drone and I fire it into the little seed. And two very strange things happen. One, the inside of the seed seems to be significantly larger than the seed itself, like massively larger. And not only that, but my signal has duplicated somewhere else in the solar system. I recall back my drone and I fire it back in again, this time taking some pictures along the way. Well, that's curious. The duplicate signal is coming from the planet farthest from the sun, something called the Dark Bramble. I decide, you know what? That's where my signal is being duplicated. We gotta find Feldspar, so let's head on over there. And as I take my ship and travel far and away near the Dark Bramble, I forgot something very important. Newton's first law. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. I realize just a little too late that I'm accelerating towards Dark Bramble at a speed that I cannot slow down quick enough as. So as I pull back, it's a little bit too fast, and I just smash right into Dark Bramble itself. I get ejected from my ship, and then I immediately get flung directly into the surface of the planet, break my legs, and die. And then, strangely, all my memories of that day flood back. And right there and then, my character gasps for air as he opens his eyes, wakes up just at the beginning once again. I talk to my buddy, tell him what happened. He says, I guess I've been having some bad nightmares. Curious. Well, I guess it's time for trip number 2. On my second journey, I decided to visit the Traveler on the Moon, an older man who, I love his little area. It's like a little house and a bunch of trees that he uses for oxygen because, it's a silly game. But he's sitting there whistling, and I talk to him. No one really visits him too much, which is quite unfortunate, but I ask him a lot of different kinds of questions. I roast a marshmallow next to him, perfect golden brown, and then after talking with him a bit, I go check out that ruin I saw earlier, and it turns out there's a downstairs, and equipped with the first ever alien translator, I'm able to start reading different things about this old alien species called the Nomai. Apparently, what's above me is a locator they built for something called the Eye of the Universe. And that is what that other symbol was. It was to try to locate the Eye of the Universe. But the problem is, every single time they try to figure out where this thing is, the thing goes haywire. It says it's over there, then it says over there, then it says over there, and it just doesn't work. And all their calculations are correct. I find a scroll and I place it on the wall, and that scroll tells me that they actually decided to build a more powerful section instead at the South Pole of Brittle Hollow. Now, having my next destination, I head on out only to notice on Timber Hearth a weird little ruin area on the other side of the planet. So I decide to fly there first, and I go check it out, and I see a giant hollowed out mining excavation part full of alien ruins on my home planet alone. And as I start reading more about it, I hear something about it being an excavation system for the Ash Twin Project. Curious, I know Ash Twin is one of the hourglass twins that orbit the sun, but Ash Twin Project. A little strange. So I decided to take a little like projection stone, I guess, and place it onto one of the weird alien pillars, and then boom, that happens. Well, that was weird. And also, apparently this alien species were all a bunch of nerds and enjoyed puns. Well, with nothing left to search for, I decide to head over to Brittle Hollow for my next mission, remembering Isaac Newton's first law this time. I find a bunch of ruins on the surface and decide to land there as well, next to a bunch of trees that is helpful for oxygen. And as I walk away, I hear a loud crashing sound right behind me in my headphones, so I turn around, and there's a tree in my ship, and then it wasn't. In fact, all the trees around here continually seem to appear and disappear when I'm not looking at them. Which, you know, reminds me of something. Even the old Nomai race knows this too. They have also been visualizing that this gigantic rock and the trees around here consistently move when not being currently looked at. The rock is even emanating a frequency that I can go use in my signal scope and find that same frequency on multiple other planets. The sun is also looking quite red, a bit bigger than before. As I explore, constantly being jump scared by the explosions of Hollow Lantern's volcanic rock being thrown at the surface, I notice something. A little bit weird. The planet seems like it's missing something. Oh, I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. What is it? You know, the crust, the surface, and what's in the center? Oh, you know, nothing. Just a black hole. Brittle Hollow. Yeah, that fits. And that's when the music kicks in. Bit ominous feeling, not gonna lie. I think it might be time to get back to my ship. And then I'd go full screen. We have this. These were my first 2 runs of the Outer Wilds. It took me about an hour to do all these parts, and the full game is about maybe 8 to 10 hours, possibly more if you want to try to get everything looked at. However, the game can be finished in under 30 minutes if you know what you're doing, and I don't mean that in like a super skilled player kind of way. The Outer Wilds is all about knowledge. Who were the Nomai? What were they looking for? What is the eye of the universe? What is this black hole doing in the middle of Brittle Hollow? Why is Feldspar's weird harmonica coming from 2 places at once? All of these questions will be answered. But the greatest part about this game is that if you want to beat the game, if you want to finish everything, it's not about having the best reflexes, and it's not about having the right items. There are no upgrades and no additional items in the entirety of the Outer Wilds, all right? It is all just the things you learn. I have played this game 3 times, once on my own, once on stream, and the third one to get extra footage for this video. And every single time, I learned more things than I did in the previous playthrough. I discovered more areas that I had no idea existed. This game is not like something, say like Subnautica, also a fantastic game, but in Subnautica, you are gated from areas and learning and getting new items because of the survival part and the item gathering part of the game. The reason you can't beat Subnautica in 15 minutes or so is because you need to gather the necessary materials to unlock better depth modules, the Cyclops, the prawn suit, the ability to get all the way down to the core. Whereas Outer Wilds, there is something of that nature. There's no upgrade to your ship. It's just, can you do it because you know how to do it? It keeps me from saying, what am I doing wrong? And changes my mindset into, what don't I know yet? I am not met with a problem and I think, how am I failing? I'm thinking, okay, I'm missing important information. Where can I find it? And that is so freaking cool. One thing I did not expect the Outer Wilds to be was scary. This is actually a good time for me to talk about how I found out about this game. So me and my girlfriend were chilling in a bed, we have a TV at the end of the bed, and I was there and I was like, ay. And she turned to me and said, if I want to see a Tic Tac, I'd go to 7-Eleven. So with my pride decently crushed, we decided to go to my Xbox and look for a kind of game to play together, just wanting to have a good time with. And I found the Outer Wilds and I was like, hey, that's that game that Joseph Anderson said was a great indie game that you shouldn't play. And I thought, challenge accepted. So we loaded it up and played 5 hours of that game that night alone, which is an absolutely hilarious thing because not only was that the first day the Outer Wilds was actually added to Game Pass, but also that Joseph Anderson video wasn't on the Outer Wilds, it was on The Witness. Now, I mentioned how much I love space and the facets of it, and I am very aware of the horrible complications and just an understated amount of danger that is present in space and space travel. So as I was playing the Outer Wilds with my girlfriend, she was constantly surprised how freaking terrified I was of it. She just didn't understand because she isn't as big into space as I am, but she didn't get why I was being such a big baby back bitch about it as I was shitting myself constantly moving through space. In fact, funny enough and intelligently enough, every single planet in this game all has something that you're probably scared of. If Deep Space alone isn't terrifying enough, you have the Hourglass Twins and the possibility of being crushed under a weight of sand, like quicksand. You have Brittle Hollow and the horrible feeling of vertigo and, fear of heights with a black hole beneath you. You have a fear of water and the ocean in Giants Deep, and we don't need to talk about that one at all. I think that's amazing. Being able to explore the universe and its secrets, but having a new type of terror in every single planet, which obviously it's nowhere near as terrifying as the early space expeditions in the real world, but just being able to have that feeling, to be able to present that feeling of fear in a game where dying doesn't really matter is fan-fucking-tastic. Now, if what I've been telling you hasn't been enough to have you get the game yet, I am going to start going into spoilers right now. We're not going to cover the ending. However, we're going to talk about some stuff that I'd rather have unsaid. So if you're still curious about the game and you want to watch the rest of the video, skip to this time code you see on the screen. But if not, then, well, here we go. Okay, for those of you who already beat it already, and for those of you who don't, shame on you, but I want to talk the best part about the Outer Wilds, my favorite part, which is learning about the quantum moon and the quantum pilgrimage. It is such an amazing way of explaining things to the player and having the option to do something the entire game and just not knowing how to do it. That body, that orbiting body that keeps on disappearing in all those trees is because it's a quantum object, an object that only exists when it is being perceived by somebody or something. And so long as it's being perceived, it will not move, unlike when you turn your head away and it just ends up disappearing. So the old Nomai had a pilgrimage to the quantum moon. And in order to do that, you had to learn the 3 major facets of quantum knowledge. There's quantum imaging, the rule of the sixth location, and the other quantum rule, I don't remember the name of it, but basically about darkness and such. So the first one is the rule of quantum imaging, that a quantum object is always stationary when it is being perceived. This includes in photo form. With this, it allows you to photograph the quantum moon, and it will allow you to land on it, in which you can see that it kind of mirrors whatever planet it's currently orbiting. Doing so, you can then find the giant Nomai quantum tower, and once you enter it, it'll allow you to do the second rule of quantum imaging, which is if you are on a quantum body, and there you are in like complete darkness, when it moves, you move with it, which you can find on the Ember twin planet. With that new knowledge, it'll allow you to constantly travel between different planets in the solar system with the quantum moon without having to have any major issues. And finally, the last one is the rule of the sixth location, which means that in order to reach the sixth location, being the eye of the universe, you must have the temple on the North Pole exactly. So as you constantly jump out of the temple, you're able to move your way through each and every planet to get to the North Pole itself. And then when you keep on turning, constantly closing your eyes to have the temple move, get this all done and talk to your new friend. It is a perfect example of just using knowledge and teaching the player something they could have done since the beginning of the game. But using good and intelligent teaching allows you, the player, to unlock the crazy secrets of this solar system. And that right there is absolutely fucking awesome. The Outer Wilds is an experience I wish I could relive again and again and again. It is the textbook definition of I want to wipe my mind so I can replay this game. Even though you'll never get that first experience, that first playthrough experience again, multiple playthroughs still have you learning more and more about the game. To truly prove that I mean everything I say when I say it is one of the best games I've ever played and one of the best sci-fi games ever made. I don't know if you've noticed, Outer Wilds Ventures. I got the hoodie the whole time. In fact, I love this game so much, I found a 3D printed STL file. I'll link it in the description. And I actually had that 3D printed and I painted it on stream over at twitch.tv/Bricky. I even reached out to the developers of the game to see if they were interested in doing an interview on my Twitch stream. I haven't gotten a response back, unfortunately, but if I ever do, I will make sure to upload it to my second channel if you want to listen to the interview. I'll be watching Mobius games closely from here on out. I will be watching your career with great interest. If they can keep up this level of quality, I would not be surprised if their studio is regarded in the same high echelon as like Supergiant Games, for instance. Thank you all so much for watching this video. This is one of my favorite videos I've made in a while. I was so hyped for it, and I'm so happy I got the opportunity to talk about this game, this absolute hidden gem of a title. A giant thank you to all of those of you who signed up to the YouTube memberships, and for those of you on my Patreon at patreon.com/Bricky. Your names are going on the screen right now. You people allow me to make this type of content and not have to force myself into like daily Fortnite videos or something. It allows me to upload less to increase quality, and I'm so happy for that. But also, we have questions that I need to answer. From Jellicle Dry, it says, out of the main areas in Metroid Prime, which is your most memorable and which has the best soundtrack? There's a lot of good parts of Metroid Prime. Honestly, I'd go with best soundtrack, either Brio in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, but if I had to choose anywhere, Sanctuary Fortress, Metroid Prime 2. It's so good. From Arch Raccoon, what got you into streaming in the first place? Well, I started off with YouTube, of course, as most people did, and then of course, you know, everyone always kind of moves into streaming from YouTube, or sometimes vice versa, they put their highlights from streaming into YouTube. But I decided to start streaming way back when I first started my YouTube channel. My first stream was Fallout New Vegas. I had like 6 people, even though I uploaded a full video saying I was streaming on my main channel. Wee lad. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. If you could change one thing about Warhammer 40k, what would it be? Digitalizing all of the kinds of codexes and stuff. I'm glad they have the app and all, but I wish you would just make them all digital. You could buy the PDF or something because it's a lot easier. You could open in different areas. Just make it easier. I like the codex for the lore and the artwork especially, but I would like a more, online copy of it itself. And finally, what changes do you want to see in the Mass Effect Legendary Edition? Well, revamping Mass Effect 1's gameplay is huge, which apparently they're doing. I guess they're not going to do the multiplayer, which really sucks, but I guess they said something along the lines of either revamp Mass Effect 1 or bring back multiplayer. And I would take Mass Effect 1. I think it's fair. Besides that, no, just, keep the visuals looking good. I mean, I would like a different ending, obviously, for the third game, but we'll see. I don't think they're going to change that, so whatever. Thank you all very much. If you are a patron, you can go ahead and ask questions. If you're at a certain tier, go ahead and do those in my Discord, please, or send me messages on Patreon with your questions, whatever you need it to be. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.